I'll never forget the day I first saw them. Aisha and Musa were sitting outside the market, huddled together under a tree. They looked so small, so tired. Aisha was holding her little brother close, trying to shield him from the scorching sun. Musa was crying softly, his voice barely a whisper, and Aisha was murmuring to him, "Don't cry, Musa. I'll find us food." That day, I had just sold my vegetables at the market. When I saw them, something in my heart broke. I didn't know their full story then, but I could tell life had been cruel to them. I gave them a small bowl of rice and a piece of fish from my basket. They ate it like they hadn't tasted food in days, their faces lighting up for a moment before that heavy sadness returned. The village had been talking about their family for weeks. Aisha and Musa had once lived in a small mud house with their parents. Their father, Baba Aisha, was a hardworking farmer. He wasn't rich, but he provided for his family. Their mother, Mama Aisha, was a kind woman who made the best akara in the village. People always gathered at her stall for breakfast, laughing and chatting as they ate her fried bean cakes. But one rainy season, everything changed. It started with Baba Aisha. He had gone to the farm early one morning, as he always did, to check on the cassava and yams. By the time he was coming back in the evening, he was bit by a scorpion. He cried for help, and the villagers rushed to his aid. They brought herbs, sent for the local healer, and prayed for him. But Baba Aisha's condition only got worse. The scorpion's poison had spread through his blood, which he started having fever. Aisha, barely 10 years old, tried to care for him, wiping his forehead with a wet cloth and bringing him water. But it wasn't enough. During the quiet night, he passed away, leaving Mama Aisha to care for the children alone. The family was devastated, but they tried to hold on. Mama Aisha worked even harder, making akara every day to support her children. Aisha helped as much as she could, carrying firewood and fetching water, while little Musa, just 7 years old, stayed close to his mother. Then, just a few months later, tragedy struck again. Mama Aisha fell ill. Some said it was exhaustion, others believed it was heartbreak. Whatever it was, she grew weaker by the day. She tried to hide it, forcing herself to cook and sell akara, but her strength was fading. One morning, she couldn't get out of bed. By evening, she was gone. The news spread quickly through the village. People whispered about the 2 children left behind, wondering what would become of them. Aisha and Musa had no one. They were too scared to live alone in the house. Their mud house was soon abandoned, and with no money to buy food, the siblings were forced to leave. The small mud house where they once laughed and played became just another memory. They wandered the village, sleeping under trees, begging for scraps, and trying to survive. Every time I saw them, my heart ached. Aisha tried so hard to be strong for Musa, but she was just a child herself. They had lost everything: their parents, their home, their childhood. They slept under the big mango tree near the market for weeks, huddling together on cold nights, hoping the rain wouldn't come. Aisha quickly realized that if they were going to survive, she had to take responsibility. At just 10 years old, she became a parent to Musa. Every day, she would wake up early and head to the market, looking for ways to earn a few coins. At first, she tried begging, but the looks of pity and the whispers behind her back made her stop. She hated feeling small, like a burden. So instead, she started offering to fetch water for the women in the market. "I'll fill your buckets for just a little," she would say, her voice trembling but determined. Some women would agree, handing her a coin or two, while others waved her away. Aisha didn't let the rejection stop her. Every coin she earned went to buying food for Musa. Musa, being younger, didn't understand the full weight of their situation. He often cried, asking why they couldn't go back to their house or why their parents couldn't come back. Aisha would hold him close and whisper, "It's just us now, Musa. But I promise, I'll take care of you." As weeks turned into months, life didn't get any easier. The rainy season came, and the mango tree could no longer protect them. They found shelter in an old, abandoned hut on the edge of the village. The roof leaked, and the walls were cracked, but it was better than sleeping outside. One day, Aisha decided to try something new. She had been watching the market women closely and noticed how they made and sold small goods like akara, puff-puff, and roasted corn. "If they can do it, so can I," she thought. With the little money she had saved, she bought a few handfuls of beans. That night, she soaked them in water and mashed them into a paste, just like she had seen her mother do. The next morning, she set up a small fire outside the hut and began frying akara. The smell drew in a few passers-by, and by the end of the day, she had sold enough to buy more beans for the next batch. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Musa, seeing his sister's determination, began helping too. He would walk around the village selling the akara on a small tray balanced on his head. His cheerful smile and polite manners made him popular with the villagers, and soon, people started calling him "Little Businessman." But their journey wasn't without setbacks. There were days when they didn't sell enough and went to bed hungry. One time, a sudden storm ruined all of Aisha's akara, leaving her in tears. Another time, Musa tripped while carrying the tray and lost all the money they had earned that day. Yet, no matter how bad things got, Aisha always found a way to keep going. Their struggles taught them many lessons. Aisha learned how to stretch every coin, how to bargain with the market women, and how to deal with people who tried to cheat her because she was a child. Musa, on the other hand, became street smart, figuring out the best times and places to sell their goods. Over time, they started to dream bigger. Aisha began experimenting with making other items, like soap and shea butter, while Musa saved up to buy a small cart so they could sell more products at once. They worked tirelessly, often late into the night, with only the dim glow of a lantern lighting their way. But their struggles weren't just about money. There were moments when Musa missed their parents so much he couldn't stop crying. Aisha, despite her strength, had nights when she felt completely overwhelmed. Whilst she would whisper to herself, staring at the cracked roof of their hut. But every time she felt like giving up, she would look at Musa, sleeping peacefully beside her, and remember her promise. Their bond grew stronger with every challenge. Aisha wasn't just Musa's sister, she was his protector, his teacher, and his biggest supporter. And Musa wasn't just Aisha's little brother, he was her source of hope, her reason to keep fighting. Together, they faced every hardship with resilience. The road was long and difficult, but deep down, they both believed that better days were coming.
Years passed.
Aisha and Musa's small hustle turned into something much bigger. What started as selling akara and soap in the village market grew step by step into a thriving business that people from neighboring villages started to notice. It all began when Aisha perfected her soap recipe. She had been experimenting for months, adding local herbs and oils she gathered from the bush. The result was a soap that not only smelled good but also worked wonders for the skin. Women in the village loved it and began spreading the word. Soon, people from neighboring villages were coming just to buy her soap. Musa, on the other hand, used the little cart they had saved up for to expand their reach. He would travel to nearby markets, selling soap and other items like shea butter, candles, and even handmade bags that Aisha had started crafting. Musa was a natural salesman. He had a way of talking to people, making them trust him. Everyone wanted to buy from the little businessman, who wasn't so little anymore. As their income grew, they made a bold decision to save every extra coin and invest it back into their business. They bought better materials, expanded their product line, and even hired a few young boys in the village to help Musa with deliveries. One day, an opportunity came that changed everything. A wealthy merchant from the city visited the village. He noticed the high demand for Aisha soap and offered to buy it in bulk to sell in his shop. At first, Aisha was hesitant. She didn't trust big promises, but Musa convinced her to take the risk. "We've come this far by taking chances," he said. The deal paid off. The merchant's customers in the city loved the soap just as much as the villagers did. Soon, Aisha and Musa were producing more than ever, and the profits began to roll in. But they didn't stop there. Aisha had always dreamed of opening a proper shop, one that wasn't just a store in the market but a place where people could come and see all the products they had worked so hard to create. With the money they had earned, they built a small but beautiful shop in the heart of the village. It wasn't just a shop, it was a symbol of how far they had come. The walls were painted bright yellow, and the sign above the door read, A&M Enterprises, standing for Aisha and Musa. Inside, shelves were lined with their products, soaps, oils, shea butter, candles, and even fabric Aisha had started dyeing herself. The shop became a hub for the community. People came not just to buy, but to seek advice from Aisha, who had become a role model, especially for young girls. Musa, now in his early 20s, began teaching others how to start small businesses. They employed people from the village, giving jobs to those who had once doubted them. Their success didn't go unnoticed. Local leaders began inviting them to community meetings, asking for their ideas on how to improve the village. Aisha and Musa used their influence to start programs that helped other orphans and struggling families. They built a small school for children who couldn't afford education and funded a health clinic to ensure no one else would lose their parents to treatable illnesses like they had. But what made their story truly remarkable was their humility. Despite their success, Aisha and Musa never forgot their roots. They still worked hard every day, treating their employees with respect and their customers with gratitude. One evening, as the sun set over the village, I visited their shop. Aisha was sitting behind the counter, calculating sales, while Musa was helping a customer. They looked so confident, so happy, and so different from the hungry children I had once seen under the mango tree. "Aisha, Musa," I said, smiling at them. "Do you remember the day I gave you that bowl of rice?" They both laughed, their faces lighting up with warmth. "We'll never forget, Mama Ola Gold," Aisha said. "That was the first act of kindness that kept us going. You believed in us when no one else did." Their story is one the whole village will remember for generations. It's not just a story of survival, It's a story of resilience, hard work, and the unbreakable bond between two siblings. Aisha and Musa proved that no matter how tough life gets, if you hold on to hope and work together, you can build something extraordinary.